Back at it as we dive behind the brush and look into the art scene of Southwest Florida. This is what we do every week as we paint the town. This is Rick Vasky, your host, and missing today in action, my co-partner Cesar Aguilera, because he's downtown working in the arts at the Sidney Byrne Art Center. They had a huge event to set up, but that doesn't stop art from happening right here in Southwest Florida. So I said the show must go on, and I have a great guest with us this week, Neil Volz. Neil, thanks for coming in.
Oh, man, I appreciate it, Rick. And I got to say, at the office, that's my phrase, too, right? It's all of ours. The show must go on.
Yeah.
Because life comes at you sometimes, but that's where the best art comes from, right?
It does. You know what's great, man? And it's at the Alliance of the Arts. He is the executive director, the newly named executive director. I think, have you been into it 90 days, or has it been 4 months? How long you been sitting in the seat
It's
now?
just a couple months now. Not yet 90 days. I was like, ooh, no, not that long. You know? So still counting it by days. That's hilarious.
Time flies when you're having fun, though.
That's right.
The Alliance for the Arts, for those of you who are either new to Southwest Florida or have not been there, it's right off of McGregor, almost at the corner of McGregor and Colonial. Been there a very long time. I mean, if you've been to outdoor, even festivals that go on there, we'll talk about all the great events that you can find at the Alliance coming up here. But it's right there on the corner. It's been there for many, many years. And the newly appointed executive director, Neil, thanks for being here.
Thanks so much. Yeah, and you're right. We're on our 50th anniversary. So
wow, 50 years.
No, 1975. I was following the Big Red Machine in Cincinnati in 1975. So it's come a long way, and we're looking forward to the next 50.
I love it, man. You are from. So I was doing a great event that you guys have, and my friend Jason Teeters started it, F Up Nights.
Yep.
And I've known better than to say the actual full word of it on the radio. That's how I'm sitting in this seat doing podcasts and not being syndicated in multiple cities. But I shared my story at F Up Nights, and you came up to me afterwards. You go, wait, you were on WEBN in Cincinnati? And you're from my hometown, Cincinnati.
No, that was I love this whole kind of community that's being built around these F-Up nights, right?
Yeah.
You're right. Jason's an incredible leader, and he's just got all of us in this place where it's like, you know what? It's all right to admit we effed up every once in a while and learn something. And it creates this environment where it's almost like with last Friday, we're like, we need to get a disco ball. Like, I think this thing is growing into that place now. Yeah, I think that. So that's right. And it was just hilarious because WEBN is exactly the radio station I grew up on. Listen, Bengals, Houday, the whole thing. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And I could put your story into my story. And I had to come up to you, man, and be like, hey.
Too fun. I love it. So how long have you been down here? I got here 2006. How long have you been down here?
Oh, okay. 2008. I got here, just right in time for the crash of the economy. So that was really eye-opening to come down here and, begin the process of engaging life in Southwest Florida.
Yeah. And so, when I moved down here, Lydia Black was in your shoes, and she's absolutely amazing. I love how she still comes out and supports so much of what's going on. It's great to see her and her family still involved and showing up and support. So if you're listening, thank you so much.
Come on. I'm going to give you a shout out, Lydia, because Lydia's one of the first people I ended up meeting when I moved here. I didn't know anybody. And Alliance for the Arts, for me, I'm like, hey, where you go hang out? You go hang out with the artists, So hanging out on the weekend, getting plugged into some of the events and things like that they were doing. And so from a long way back, like Lydia has just been somebody I look up to, who's like, hey, man, she's fighting the good fight for the community and grateful for everything that she's done, and Molly and everybody to build the Alliance for the Arts.
The next along the lines was Molly Rowan, and she changed things up a little bit, bringing in all different kinds of formats and different demographics, and it was a big change. I feel like. And now Molly, I think was there 3 years potentially.
That's right. And also just so awesome. She's an artist, right? Like you can just feel it in terms of the excellence that she brings to events and kind of making sure that, that's a high standard for, what's going on at Alliance. So I have high regard for both of them. And all three of us are different.
Yeah.
I do keep, it's still new enough that people are kind of like, Molly, hey, are you, Molly or, Lydia? I'm like, I know both. Love them both.
I think Molly brought in the F Up Nights nights, and she brought in the Rocky Horror Picture Night that they do, and she brought in some of the nude nocturnal, I think, event was
Just
part
a
of her.
hit, man.
Yeah, really interesting changes that were there. And so where did you find yourself in all of this? How did you end up in the seat that you're in? Were you already a part of the board? Were you how do you find yourself into this role?
Well, it's interesting, and there's a longer story, and I know it's digital, and you have all the time in the world, but that's not what your listeners are.
We got
are
30
here for.
minutes. We got to keep it to the ADD of the world.
When I was 3, but I had been running a statewide nonprofit for the last 8 years, and it was an advocacy organization. We're best known for passing a ballot initiative that restored voting rights for people with felony convictions.
Wow.
Right. So it feels like a big leap to the arts, right? But the truth is, my background is a little bit. I was the chair of the Lee County Homeless Coalition. I worked at St. Matthew's House. So I ran a couple homeless shelters back in the day. So I come from more of the nonprofit space
and the community.
And the community. And it's really been fun to be introduced to folks. Like I love the arts. I definitely grew up in the arts. I've done live theater. I've got my IMDb credits for a couple films. I've wrote a book. I love all that stuff, but I'm surrounded by people who are really amazing and really talented. I think my job is to help be a facilitator and just kind of be like, hey, let's make the trains run on time. Let's shoot for excellence in everything that we do, because man, the community deserves it. And if we give it to them, they'll support it. So, and I love dealing with teams and people. So that's kind of where I come from.
Outstanding response to that, man. Yeah, because that's what it takes. That creating that, even we just had Devin from Sydney Byrne here last week, and she was talking the same way, because you guys are both coming into to filling some shoes in the community, in the art scene, and you're new in your roles, not new to working in the community, right. Not new to the arts, but into these roles. And it's nice to see some of this younger, nice, great vision of the collaborative effort that it takes to make people happy in the art community, because it's not easy.
That's right, no doubt. And I love that you said the collaborative word, right?
Yeah.
Because it really is. It can be challenging and very busy, and there's those moments where you're just like, oh man, did we give it everything that we had for this one today, or were we thinking about the one tomorrow, And so those are unique challenges, but where working with other people comes in is like, man, you can lean on each other, and it's super creative. And so I'm with you on that. For me, it's like there's a freshness.
Yeah.
And man, mad respect. There are folks who have been doing a lot of programming at Alliance for over 20 years, and it's like, hey man, we're sitting on the legacy of Bill's shoulders in that regard, right? Like, wow, that's a long time to serve the community. And we could pick and choose a little bit, you know, in terms of like, we're going to obviously carry on in some ways because he had such an input, and we're inevitably going to be doing our own thing. So let's lean into that too. Maybe we try something else out, and if it works, great. And if it doesn't, great too,
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit, because there's so much that is the Alliance for the Arts. Mm-hmm. Because number one, you have the full outdoor festival area. That there's so much that can happen just outdoors. I love that area. I mean, J.J. Gray played there this past year.
About that, yeah.
The Rocky Horror Picture Show was fun. It was so much fun. I think they did it twice now. And the Italian Festival, I think, has found its home there. There for a while there. The Building Industry Association was doing the beer, barbecue, and bands thing. I think that moved downtown. But either way, that we know of that nice outdoor area before you even make it through the doors.
That's right.
Is there some? Are we sticking with that? Or is there going to be some great events coming up outdoors before we move inside?
What we're looking at in terms of the larger events outside would probably be after summer. Is kind of where we are right now. And the truth is, we talk all the time how we'd like to be doing even more, right? Like, it's such a cool place to be able to do something. But in part for me to get my legs and get some bearings going, it's like, oh, what are we looking at in December and January? And it is, you
got to plan that way almost.
Yeah. And then working with other people for, if somebody has a holiday party or you're right. Some of the groups and the organizations that you mentioned and others, are doing some of their events, outside. And that's a really cool thing to kind of see how that all works, because one thing I've learned is it's a creative space, man. That's 10 acres. And you know, I have done a lot of work in a lot of organizations, but man, to be given a platform with the creativity, you know, that you can bring to the table at Alliance is really fun. You know, like F up nights, right? Suddenly it's like, and that's a legit business network in our community, man, that people can lean onto each other and have met that, you know what I'm saying?
I loved it. I mean, I loved doing it. It's not what you
think of, I know, a quote unquote arts thing, but it's as arts as anything you can do.
Yeah. And now moving around the outside, you have that cool area in the back around the tree with the smaller stage that's been back there. There is Battle of the Arts that's been back there, and you have the flea, the market nights.
Yep.
Is that Wednesday night?
Market nights generally are Wednesday nights. If people can keep an eye out on our social media, sometimes we're pushing them to Saturday if there's an outdoor event that kind of meshes real well with that. But typically it's Wednesday.
Yeah.
And you're right, and that's a cool place for the community to gather. We try to have different themes, you know, it's going to keep it fresh. But fundamentally, it's it's the community gathering, and then we got artists on property, right? Who also there's food, they're selling their stuff, you know, and so I think once you get on property, like you said, even before you come into our building, there's a whole lot to do and a whole lot to experience.
Yeah, and then the additional building outside of that is the DOS, and a great gallery that's out there for shared space for artists. Great artists that are in there, and that little cafe that's in there.
Oh yeah. And then they'll have their evening events. I mean, it is a place to go hang out and just kind of cut loose if that's what you want, or just relax. Like you said, they've got some food, and just to be able to break your end of your week hanging out with a whole bunch of artists in the community is a lot of fun.
And then as we move inside, the great spaces, I've seen yoga classes going inside there.
Yep.
You have the theater that's inside. You have the main exhibit hall. What else? I mean, what all goes on inside of this building for those people that, you know, might be new or never walked into the Alliance before?
So we've got exhibit space, right? So typically that space we roll over once a month. I think we're looking at maybe next year changing that up because I think it could be fun to try and do some more interactive work and maybe extend beyond a month in some cases. But man, that's a broad. There were some folks who actually had, you know, items in the New York Met and the Louvre, and you know, and they were on our walls. And then right now on our walls are winners from high school competitions and, you know, juried artwork. Which, man, for me, like, so much of the heartbeat of Alliance revolves around the next generation. I'm going to get to your question if I could, but like one of the things that we're working on that really touches all the things that make me so excited about being able to serve the community is what we're trying to do is we're developing a platform with a local financial organization. We're almost there, and I'll be able to share everything, but we basically want to partner with high school and college artists in their effort to become entrepreneurs, you know, and part of it really hit. I was at FGCU a couple weeks ago just hanging out with these young artists. You know, one young lady was talking about how they're putting a kiln in her parents', you know, she's ceramics and she sold all her stuff and she's putting a kiln in the garage of her parents' house. And then she's like, well, I don't make anything money like Stephanie makes. You know, she said, but most of hers is on Etsy and stuff. And you're just like, oh, these entrepreneurs are man, we want them to stay here in Southwest Florida. Like, how can we partner with these young people, right? Because, you know, and so we're looking at like free personal management training, free classes, help with LLCs if that's what, but that's a program that we're trying to kind of establish that I think is just a win-win across the board because you got so much creativity going on, but it's also like coming out of the schools. So
I really love that because there's so many artists, you know, they don't come up with the term starving artist for a reason, right? But there's so many artists that do an amazing job on the canvas or beyond the canvas, but they don't necessarily understand how to do a business.
Or don't even like to market themselves.
Right.
Man, I am.
Yeah.
That's when I realize I'm lower on the social score when it comes to art because I'm like, how are you not marketing your amazing stuff? So
what a great program
that
is. I think that's very smart and very helpful. You know, and speaking of the next generation, because we're at that time, it's probably time right now to be signing up for summer camp.
That's right.
My daughter went to summer camp at the Alliance for, I think, 7 straight years and just loved it. The theater part of it, the painting part of it. They get every day she came home with something different. I mean, she absolutely loved it. So yeah, I believe it's probably sign up time now.
It's
correct?
sign up time right now. Yeah, and I don't know if it's appropriate or not. We are running a campaign to ask folks to help pay for scholarships for kids who signed up who don't.
That's always been important.
Yeah, and so we're not there yet. We will figure out a way to make sure everybody gets in.
Yeah, funding summer camp can be tough on some families.
Yeah,
and supporting through the arts if you can. What is we haven't even said the website.
Oh, it's allianceforthearts.org. So
Very
yeah,
important.
yeah. That's right. www. If people go to allianceforthearts.org, there's a button there that can help specifically with this.
Yes.
And because you're right, man, it is so fun to see the kids in these different classes. I keep telling people how lucky and blessed and fortunate I am. Right. So we had this little 10-year-old a couple weeks ago. She went through our film class. And she put her movie in the Bonita Springs Film Festival and frickin' won for the 18 and under, right?
Oh,
so then we had this big old celebration for her family, and screened it at Alliance, made to do. I love podcasts, so it's just like stream of consciousness. Delancey is her name. She's a superstar. I look forward to her getting an Oscar. And her brother cracked me up. He was a little 5-year-old. He convinced like half our staff that he also won the Best Actor award. Until his parents like, he didn't win anything. He just doesn't let it, like his sister getting all the light. And I'm like, but he is a good actor because he got all of us to be like, oh, I'll get you an award too. So anyway, great night. And the truth is, man, those are the kind of things that change people's lives.
Yeah.
You know, I remember seeing certain movies and just, whoa, never again. Like, I want to do this.
My daughter literally made great friends there that didn't go to her school. So it taught her to learn how to interact with people that aren't your friends. Go ahead, talk to people. They're there to have fun with you. Right? I love that. She got creative. She came home. She was proud of everything. And never knew we had our own little stage in the garage, but for her to get up in front of an audience and just have one line, one line, it gave her confidence. It helps build their confidence in a creative way that says, you know what, you don't have to be great. You don't need to know every line. Right. We're all working together here. It's going to be great by the time you're done. And it did. I really feel like it changed her.
Oh,
now she's 16 and and she has her own podcast.
Yeah, she's making the world a better place at 16.
Yeah,
man.
Summer camp, Alliance for the Arts. Please get signed up for that if you got kids, or if you want to be a donor for that and help a kid get through summer camp. That'd be a huge help.
Awesome. Yeah, and you mentioned, so we have our exhibits, we've got the classes, we do kind of the rental, people can rent out some space, and a lot of folks do that for their holiday or work parties and things like that. Then we have live theater, so we're going to do, we got a couple shows coming up in the fall.
Clown Bar was by far the funniest thing I think I've ever seen.
All right, okay.
My good friend Kelly Rivera was one of the clowns in Clown Bar, and I went to see Clown Bar 1 3 times.
Okay.
And Clown Bar 2 4 times because Clown Bar was absolutely hysterical.
Well, you were blowing my mind on that because all of a sudden, I just sat through a meeting today on our big Halloween, right? We're going to have a haunted house. Ooh. We're having 13 Nights of Fright, right? So it's going to kind of be everything from, Michael Jackson flash mobs to scary zombies to kids' family night, and just trying to be good neighbors, but also and it's clown themed, right? So the creatives, man, over at Alliance developed a whole backstory on how there was this clown who kind of had a traumatic incident, and that's why there's this haunted house. And I'm like, y'all are awesome. And in my head, I was telling myself, so again, man, last time I'll say it, podcast bring funny things out. I'm just like, if you know me and the work I did in the last 8 years, man, it's like even as much fun as we had, even as you get your systems down to mental health and do your thing right, it's still heavy. You know, you're dealing with people with real challenges. Man, I'm sitting there going okay, we're going to make money. The community is going to have a blast. This is us literally serving the community. I'm like, for the next 90 minutes, I get to talk about pirate costumes and, circus and all that stuff. And I was just wildly grateful to be doing what I'm doing, man.
That is fun. And when you go over to that website to find out all these events, don't forget, get yourself a membership.
Oh, yeah.
because ticket prices change.
That's
for
right.
members.
No, that's a very good point.
Yeah. Anytime you want to go to see something, membership has its privileges.
Membership has its privileges.
So
it's true.
When you get on there, make sure you get onto that membership tab.
That's cool.
And give to the arts as well. What else is coming up? You gave a little teaser on that. I mean, there's
we've got we're one of the shows we're doing is kind of like a pop-up hits of our favorite Broadway, right?
Fun.
That'll be fun. That is one meant to be like, man, bring your friends. This is going to be some singing and enjoying the experience. Then we're doing Rainbow Holiday, which is we're going to do that for 8-10 days, and that's really a kind of a Thanksgiving story about tolerance and about loving each other. It seems to be kind of timely, so we're excited getting into that. We are in conversation right now with some live music events for kind of later in November, December kind of thing. We don't have it locked in, but so we're trying to, our year-round programming is a big deal to us. I will say one thing that we're doing new, and we'll see whether it's we are actually going to shut down in September. So
oh, wow.
It's our 50th anniversary. We're telling people we're getting a facelift.
Cool.
So we got some work to do on the inside around some tiles and the bathrooms and lighting. And, part of that, though, is partnering with the community. And we're in conversation with folks about, hey, can you help us, improve this area.
That's smart.
And so,
yeah, and it'll be good for everybody to take a little time out and get it all cleaned up and polished.
Yeah, and September's that is the month. I mean, we live here, August and September are challenging to begin with. So we're like, all right. Man, I think my board will give me one fatal mistake. Not a fatal mistake, what I'm saying? That.
No, it's smart, though.
I think it's right.
Is, a facelift is needed. And not in any business, in anything. Everything needs to be cleaned up, and sometimes it's hard to put under construction signs when you're having event after event after event.
Totally.
And so that makes sense. The one thing that I know is going on, I think currently right now, and you guys do have some showings, is the Fort Myers Film Festival.
Yep.
And but coming up right after that, I think, because I saw some amazing shows. Last year was the Fringe Fest.
Heck yeah, man. And you are right. One incredible film festival, right? Like so many amazing movies. Including the story about Sanibel and the storms, and that touches so many people locally. But even to see individuals in our community who, man, the 5-minute short, the 30-minute, right? It's like I sell insurance during the day, I make movies at night, and I'm just like, keep that going, man.
Right.
We need folks like you. You know what I'm saying? So that piece is fun. And then to get into the Fringe Festival, right, which is basically, right, a film festival for theater, right, or off Broadway theater, right? It's kind of like, hey, this is the stuff that there's a long history to it.
What are the dates? Is that in May?
It's the end of May. It's May 29th through June 1st.
Okay.
June 1st, 2nd. Yeah, it's all on the website, and there's going to be some really fun groups that come in. Obviously, there's the party on the front end. So we're going to be celebrating theater. We're going to be celebrating just kind of being who you are. You know, like this is a place where we get to be who we are.
The kickoff last year with the flamingos and everything was so much fun.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I hope folks come out the flamingo, right? Yeah. Come on out in flamingo. It's so fun. I don't even know how we got into it, but it is this, like, we really do need a disco ball. So I think on the opening night there, we'll be feeling the same way.
We need DJs. Local artists actually to make one.
Come on now.
We need a collaborative. Everybody cutting glass out in the back. Hot glue guns. Bring your hot glue gun night.
Somebody's gonna show up with something. You're like, what?
We need a giant ball. We're gonna plaster it. We're gonna.
You could put names on it or shows or. Oh, that sounds fun. Sounds fun.
I like that idea. We're gonna disco, and you got to be dressed in 70s to even participate.
Well, we are gonna have kind of a partay 75th 1975 style. We're still working it out, but we're like, you know what? What if we just go old school and are like, hey, it was 50 years ago. Let's just dress up like it was 50 years ago.
I love it.
And so that should be interesting.
That is, man. So what do you find? Lots of great things. Obviously, you can visit the website there, Alliance.
www.allianceforthearts.org.
Yes. And but now let's take a break from all the fun things there. What challenges do you find in Southwest Florida here, whether it be because we're at a time where funding is not at a high in a lot of areas, not just in art, but how do we get past these challenges? Where do you find the challenges right now in the art scene?
Yeah, well, and I appreciate that a lot. I definitely, when I was going through the process of interviewing with the board, that was brought up. They were like, look, your advocacy work is something that we need to build a collaboration here locally for us to get a better funding system, something that I think facilitates collaboration, right? And I think that could be done at the funding level. Something that recognizes that art, even if you define it narrowly, and I see it everywhere. I don't know about other people, but for me, I'm like, man, I'm at Bahama Breeze with some steel drums on a Sunday, and it's art to me, So,
right.
but I get that people are like, well, what is art, and who should fund it? And I understand that there's a lot of people on a lot of different sides there. But I do think that those of us who live here and we're all neighbors together, we can acknowledge the impact that arts has on tourism, that arts has on, keeping people here, right? Like the exact programs we were talking about with students and young people, the work you do with solar, right? Like whether we want to admit it or not, man, as the business community, we're competing with businesses in Chicago and LA and other places. And it used to be, and I don't mean this to sound bad, it used to be we could, hey, cost of living, man, come on down. And you could, maybe the job doesn't pay as much, but the house, right? It's like,
yeah.
But I now it's got to be like, well, what kind of art you got? What am I going to do while I'm living there? How's all this work?
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of that, there's a lot of effort being made and should be made around this innovative economy, a creative economy. Like how do we, if you're a social media person, if you're a podcast person, right, man, that is exactly how people find out about, most tourist beds are filled through social media, and through some of that. And a lot of those jobs are filled by people who come through art and programs and things like that. So I think it all stems together. And what I'm excited about is the openness to kind of like, well, let's have real conversations, and so that's what I'm looking forward to, because man, there was a moment, like a jarring moment, in which the governor vetoed a whole lot of money for a whole lot of art programs across the state.
Yeah, and it was.
And
it was a rough hit.
Yeah, and again, I'm one of those people who's like, I respect the political process, and I respect and am concerned about the consequences of those decisions, right? Like real people got impacted by those. And it just seemed out of like the perspective wasn't there almost. Like in my mind, I'm like, man, like that veto felt to me a lot like shutting down JetBlue and Hammond Stadium just because of something somebody said on the in the deck, on deck circle or on the bench. It's kind of like whoa,
yeah.
Wildly disproportionate. Like there is we're a community here,
yeah.
and I know my neighbors, and people have a lot of diverse views, and I love that. Not everybody needs to come to the Fringe Festival, but it's not really, something that you won't hear at a comedy club or in a movie theater, on a podcast. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, let's have some perspective here, because these are also values and things that are really important to us. I can't imagine Southwest Florida without art.
I couldn't either, and hopefully we can see a change in that as far as some of this funding that can come back around that. But that's why it's important that we get out and support the arts.
That's right.
That's the biggest part is, that these people when we see beautiful things happening in the community, or we have something to go to enjoy on a Friday night, or we have something to go see and take our kids to experience the actual culture of what's going on, that is what needs to actually be reciprocated from our own actual hard work that we put in.
Heck yeah.
We appreciate that. I just went to Busch Gardens for the Food and Wine Festival, right? And you walk around and they were doing live art, all going on around this stuff. And, everything about the place, like you're saying, to me, that roller coaster's art, in all these things. But the difference is people were taking and there's these beautiful, all these appetizers and food that were like from all around the world that you can try and sample. No one has a problem pulling the money out of their pocket to get into the park,
right,
to try those foods or to look at all those live art events, but they're not realizing, how are you actually supporting it?
That's right.
Are you supporting it? I mean, is it that tough to get a membership to one of these places? Is it that tough to buy something that you stood there and you liked so that person can actually go and pay their bills?
Yeah.
Right? And we just need to create more, I think, of an open awareness of this, of the community.
Well, and even the idea that it's an investment, that pays for itself, right? When you have murals, right? When you have things that are going on in the community, people stay. Whoever, whether it's a tourist or whether it's family, And so it's like there is something that's going on where it's like, man, to your point, how do we connect those dots? It's so funny. I think about your previous work, like you are a natural connector, right? And it's like, and in those moments when we can actually see the why behind what it is that we're doing, right? You see growth, and you see, right? Like so many of your experiences lead to like more people getting together and other people doing some cool stuff that then leads to other cool stuff. And it's like, yeah, that's exactly how this whole thing works. And it becomes challenging for me on a remotely funny level. And I know this is kind of serious, but also not, as like the data is just so stinking clear, right? Where you're like, oh, every dollar is either turns into $7 or $9, right? Like depending on what your surveys are and your studies. And it's like, and I think so many of us know that, but it almost diminishes to me like the other stuff, right? Like it connects us. Like people who interact with the art, man, have social cohesion and are able to do life together in a moment in time when the phones and all that stuff are creating loneliness like crazy for people, So it's like there's health benefits, there's all these other things. And that's what's great about being able to talk in a community like this, where it's like we get that stuff. And how can we be intentional about like the economic impact? Because I do think that kind of moves business leaders and things like that to kind of make decisions that can be helpful for all of us.
Yeah, and I think getting out to some of these just events, whether it be the yoga class, whether it be the Wednesday night marketplace, whether it be just a paint and wine night, like I'm not an artist, go have a glass of wine and pick up the brush.
Right.
No one's trying to buy the art that you're doing while you're at a paint and wine night, but you're out there creating awareness of supporting what's going on inside the arts. Whether it's $20 at a time, whether it's $5 at a time at the market nights, whether it's $25 for the yoga class, whether it's $35 for the ticket to go see F Up Nights, whether it doesn't matter, it all flows. It creates a natural flow to keep supporting this.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. And I'm with you. I appreciate that, where it's like, come out, see a show, or go to any of the places that have great shows, I went a couple movies at the Sydney Burn, at the festival, man. They put on a show. Yeah. And it's like, invest in this, or IMAG or whatever it is, right? Like there are places that it's like when you're investing in that, it's coming back to the community.
You go once and you're going to want to go back. The same way, like, and I'll go back to it just because I love Kelly and everybody that did that clown bar. And I took a couple of my art friends, some of my artist friends, there was 6 of us, right? And I almost had to go, come on, guys, you have to see, you're trying to get people to support you. You got to get out and support people. I don't care if you don't like theater, you don't think you like theater. And they walked out and they're like, oh my God, that was so great. Right. I'm like, that's art, right? We got to, come on now, come on now. And so whether you are an artist or you don't think you're an artist or you don't like this or you don't like, support it all. Right. Get out and have a good time, because when you go to one thing, when you walk in the lobby, pick up the flyer of the next thing. Totally. Become aware of what else is next. What's next? What's next? Right. Because if you just go to the thing that you think you like, you're missing so much more of what you could have saw.
I have a friend. I mean, I almost felt like I was gonna have to wrestle him. Like his wife was cool with it, but we ended up going to see MJ at Broadway Palm, right? Yeah. And it was just like, there's a weird mental block, right, where he's I love his music, but his music is in another place. It's like that's not even him, and like just go, and then right now he is just like buying all kinds of stuff. He's like lit his musical taste up. So you are 100% right there. That's good.
Yeah,
that's
get
really
out
good.
for one thing. Push your bounds of what you think it is that you want to do or like to do or anything. What are you going to do? Sit at home and Netflix and chill the rest of your life? Get out and see real art. It's happening right here in your backyard.
No doubt.
Neil, thank you so much for being here and a part of this. Executive Director of the Alliance for the Arts, right down on McGregor and Colonial. 75 years.
Woo! here we go.
Yeah, so check it out online.
Awesome. AllianceForTheArts.org. www.allianceforthearts.org.
Become a member, support it, find out what's going on next. The Fringe Festival's coming up.
Yep.
Summer camp, sign your kids up, and just keep it going, brother. Congratulations.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And best of luck on the podcast, and thanks for having me on. Looks really cool with the platform that you've developed and are building on.
Yeah.
Is there anything I can do to be helpful? Let me know.
Absolutely. It's beyondthebrush.art is the website, and this is Behind the Brush, our podcast. You can find it wherever you listen to your podcast. Like us, follow us, and we'll keep painting the town.
Awesome. Thanks, Rick.